Welcome back to That Handicapping Show. I'm Claire Novak, joined today by Tom Lamara, and we are going to take a look at none other than the Travers Stakes. A mile and a quarter for the 3-year-olds, the appearance of Triple Crown winner American Pharoah at Saratoga, and it is going to be a fantastic day of racing, anchored by this race.
Yes, of course, the Travers has the Triple Crown winner in it, and we're looking at maybe a 1-5, 1-9 shot, I'm not sure. But there are many other stakes on this card and non-stakes on this card that are actually excellent races to bet. So you ought to start handicapping as soon as possible. There's a lot of options on this card, which we can talk about later about how to play the Travers. But yeah, very, very good day of racing.
Very good day of racing. American Pharoah has arrived in New York, and he galloped over the track this morning. And we have Karen Johnson up there doing all of our coverage of his activities. So you can go to bloodhorse.com to find out more about what he's up to leading into the Travers. But the real question of this race is actually how he will handle the racetrack. Hall of Fame trainer Bob Baffert not having exactly a great record at Saratoga, definitely not the way he has at Monmouth Park in the Haskell, where he's just dominated that race. And Bob Baffert did win the Travers with Point Given, so he has done that, and Point Given was the last Haskell winner to win the Travers, so maybe Bob can pull it off again with American Pharoah. But I think that everybody pretty much expects this horse to really just romp, especially considering the way he won the Haskell, just completely geared down.
Well, romp may be a little extreme in this case.
Oh.
Well, you know, it is Saratoga, and we've seen some wild things happen at Saratoga. And, you know, yes, the racing surface is a little different. For me, that's really not a concern because the horse has run extremely well on everything he's run on so far, including the old Poly track at Delmar. So he's not a horse that needs to bring his surface with him. That's clearly obvious. And I don't think that's going to be a major factor, but, you know, romping by 5-6 lengths.
Maybe not.
I don't know, but, you know, but I do think he wins the race. But you know.
We are both picking American Pharoah. Newsflash. Da, 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 da. And there are some very good horses in here who have run well throughout the Triple Crown Trail, and then we have some newcomers who might have a chance to get a piece of it. And one horse that I'm definitely going to include is Frosted. This is the horse who ran second in the Belmont Stakes by Tapit. He really does seem to like the longer distances. He's just turned into a key player on the 3-year-old scene. We saw earlier in his career after he won the Wood Memorial that, you know, he was really starting to develop well, and that had something to do with the throat surgery that they did on him. Actually, being able to breathe helps you run, who would have thought. But after he won the Wood Memorial and ran a very good closing 4th in the Kentucky Derby, came back, ran so nicely in the Belmont, and then last time out was just nipped on the wire by Texas Red in the Jim Dandy. I do think that a couple of factors coming out of the Jim Dandy, he lost a shoe in that race, so hopefully he does not lose a shoe in this race. Helpful to have all shoes on your feet when you are running. Also the fact that he did give 4 pounds to Texas Red, and in this race everyone races under equal weights of 126 pounds, so I'd expect Frosted to have definitely a good chance in here, and he worked a really nice bullet last time out.
Yes, and he has another advantage. His trainer, Kieran McLaughlin, is having an outstanding Saratoga meet, winning at 32% with 34 starters, at least through a couple days ago. That may have changed. His horses are just running extremely well. And, you know, this horse has trained up there for quite a while. And, you know, I think he's kind of the horse that has the look of maybe the one that could blow American Pharoah out of the water. But, you know, again, you know, he's 6-1. He's the legitimate 6-1 second choice in the morning line. And I'm sure he's got a lot of fans. You know, my policy is if you really like a horse, play it to win no matter what the favorite looks like. So.
Great. I will not take that advice, but thank you, Tom.
Okay. All right.
Now we have to talk about Texas Red because we talked about Frosted, and Texas Red beat him last time out. The last time that Texas Red faced American Pharoah, it was all the way back in the Front Runner Stakes at Delmar. He ran 3rd, American Pharoah won. That kicked off American Pharoah's great streak of victories. And Tom, as far as this horse is concerned, I'm just kind of still on the fence. I don't really know what to think. He's the Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner, so you have to respect that. But the time on the fence, you know, on the sidelines, I'm not so sure. He came back and won the Jim Dandy okay, but I don't know if he's really the type of horse to get excited about for this or for the, you know, Jockey Club Gold Cup, the Breeders' Cup Classic, looking ahead down the road.
I think he looks as good as most of the horses in this race. You know, but there's a lot of hype around this horse lately, and so, you know, it's quite possible that he could be lower odds than Frosted, just because of all his talk and stuff. I do, you know, and I think he's a little bit quicker earlier than a lot of these horses, which I think could be a big advantage in this race, because there are multiple horses in here that we've seen run many, many times who they just like to drop well off the pace or just or not that far off, which kind of, you know, leaves them at the mercy of what happens up front. I think this guy could be a little bit closer. You know, I'm not really sold on him. I like a couple other horses in this race more, but I can understand, you know, why he would be a, you know, a now horse.
All right, well, before we run out of time, let's talk about the other horses you like in here. And one that you mentioned before we went on the show was the Curlin Stakes winner,
yes.
Transition.
You know, he drew post 10, but again, he's one of these horses, he does like to come from off the pace, but he runs much better around 2 turns. You know, he had no problem winning the mile and an eighth Curlin. And John Velasquez picks up the mount. I think he's got enough early speed because, you know, the 3 horses inside of him are those types that like to drop back. So I think he gets really, really good position. And I would absolutely use him with American Pharoah. Also like Frosted. We haven't talked about Upstart. We assume he's going. If he is, you know, with the inside post and the fact that he can also stay close, I think he's a legitimate factor here too.
And my boy Keen Ice, I'm not going to leave him out. He ran 3rd in the Belmont. He ran 2nd in the Haskell. I don't understand how you could hate on him. He is one of those closing types, but he's proven to be game. And Trainer Dale Roman said, thank you to NYRA for capping attendance at 50,000 so that there will only be 50,000 people there booing when Keen Ice beats American Pharoah.
Yes, and one other wagering point too, you know, having a 1-to-9 shot in here, you know, you play the race the way you want to, but remember there are pick 3s and pick 4s, and what I plan to do anyway is use maybe 5 horses in the Travers with those other races. I wouldn't single American Pharoah, even though I think the way he runs, he's just faster. But things happen, as we've said many times before.
That is true. We've got the Ballerina Stakes, the Forgo Stakes, the King's Bishop, all among those really good races. The Personal Ensign with Untappable. Tepin is running in the Boston Spa, and the Big Beast will be in the Forgo.
She loves the Big Beast.
I do. And La Verdad will be putting that win streak on the line in the Ballerina, trying to win that elusive Grade 1. She was 5th in the Ballerina last year, but she was also 5th in the Honorable Miss last year, which she just won impressively in her last start. So you can go to bloodhorse.com, read all of our previews, follow our coverage as we get closer, and definitely on Saturday, stay tuned. We always want to thank Equibase for the PPs, and thank you for watching That Handicapping Show.